What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and I am back at it again. And I had a lot of things going on this week, man. It was a super busy week. Things got away from me, and then some things happened at the end of the week, man. So I am finally here. But this is New Amsterdam Season 4, Episode 22, the season finale this time. Discussion/review titled, I'll Be Your Shelter. And first of all, I know she didn't. Let's talk about it, man.
I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'ma be fine.
This episode wasn't good or bad. It was good and bad, man. There were good moments that I really enjoyed, and there were moments that were bad, and I was wondering what New Amsterdam was doing yet again. Now, this is the official finale episode, but I gotta be honest, man. They were doing a lot of things that I just didn't quite wrap my head around. I get the gist of it because it's the finale and they want to end you with that nice little cliffhanger, but I'm just saying a lot of stuff they just I just didn't see where they were going with it. Let's talk about the episode, man. First off, we see the episode starts off where we picked up right after last week's episode, where Iggy is talking to Martin, and they're having this whole debacle about Iggy feeling some type of way that Martin makes him feel like the helpless one so he can feel better about himself, and Martin is the one that is the caretaker of their relationship, and Iggy is the broken one. Now, with this whole dynamic and this whole little particular scenario, and after talking to you guys and reading your comments, I agree with you. In this moment, I didn't see what Iggy was talking about. In this moment, Iggy seemed like the broken one. And to be fair, not to, call out his flaws or anything, we knew that Iggy had some actual problems. So he's talking to Martin, trying to figure out why Martin chose him when they were at the bar that night, why he chose to come up here to spark conversation. And in this moment, I agree with Martin. In this particular moment, in the very beginning of this episode, I agree with Martin 100%. And now we see that that's weighing on Iggy the entire rest of the episode. And when they get to the hospital, he's lost in thought, even when Bloom is trying to talk to him after talking to the other department heads. And she never even considered asking him to head up the whole emergency protocol situation that was going on because of the hurricane. And Iggy decided to take it upon himself to take on this role because he felt like he had something to prove against what Martin was saying. And everything that could go wrong went wrong with Iggy being in charge. But I will say this, but it wasn't his fault. It was just a string of bad luck of him being in charge and just the places he decided to go, like a rusty pipe, a leaky roof. This isn't stuff that was on him. It just so happened to happen with him being there in charge, or glass breaking while they were in the ICU. Like, this isn't stuff he can control. It's just stuff that happened. And Iggy was feeling some type of way this entire episode until he bumped into Max, and Max told him, hey man, I cannot do it. I cannot be in charge, because we see that Max has quit this episode and he's not working at New Amsterdam at all. And there's this new medical director that's not even worth mentioning because I don't even remember his name, if I'm being honest. And Iggy is feeling a little loss of sorts, but Max told him, hey, I got my own thing going on, because he's worried about SHARPE and he's worried about this patient that he found outside. So Iggy has to take control, and he leads them down in the stairwell where they almost die of carbon monoxide, leads them down the hallway where they almost get electrocuted. So it was a lot of tension going on with Iggy leading, but at the end of the day, it worked out in his favor. So, he cut off the generator to help them get past the electrical current and the water and everything, and that ended up being a hurrah for Iggy. And at the end of the episode, we see him becoming triumphant and feeling himself, and he kind of just lays into Martin yet again. And Martin is questioning whether or not Iggy should be leading people, or why didn't he just hunker down in his office. So now, like I said, I wanted more information as into what Iggy was saying Martin was doing to him. And I feel like right there at that last moment, it kind of did lay into it a little bit, because he was just on it. But I don't disagree with Martin where he kicked Iggy out. I feel like Iggy was riding that high after saving everybody, so he should have actually thought about everything he said before he actually said it. Bloom and Layla. Oh my gosh. I feel like we are there, man. I do feel like everybody's scenario this episode really tied into what they were going through as a whole, because we see that Bloom and Layla are helping this girl that's pregnant, but she's also being sex trafficked. And I feel like the highlight of this episode for me is the moment when Bloom decided to help this girl and she had her pee in the cup. And she had the two pens. It was like, if you need help, choose the red pen. And she chose the red pen and wrote on the cup, which was fantastic. Bloom helped her. And I feel like in this whole situation and talking to this girl, Bloom realizes that her relationship with Layla is what? Say it with me. Toxic. 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 Called it from the jump, man. We knew this was what was going to happen, man, because Layla just can't. They're not clicking, if you ask me. In the beginning, it was cool, but now Layla feels some type of way because Bloom has money, and every time it's always a money issue with them. And I'm glad that Bloom starts to realize this, man. So she realizes that, you know, them sleeping together, her buying coffee, them making back up, it's not a good thing. You know, it's hurting her. So I'm glad that she realizes that, you know, she has to cut Layla loose to move forward. And Layla looking like she all heartbroken. Who cares? Nobody cares about Layla. I'm sorry, I just don't. But I feel like every scenario that our main cast was in this episode, it all really was relevant to what they were actually going through. Like Max's situation with him and this guy that he met on the street, the vendor guy, and, you know, him trying to save this dude's kidney, which also kind of related into Iggy's case, because that moment where Iggy kind of cut off the power and we thought he was going to die on the dialysis machine because he couldn't get it cycled through, I was like, you know what? They just might kill this man. But then the lights came back on. I was like, okay, I see you, dude. I see you. So he lived and everything. But Max is super worried about Helen because he can't get in contact with her. You know, he can't get information on her flight path. So like his mind is scrambling. But everything that he was going through in that moment, I feel like it kind of, I don't want to say prepared him, but it kind of just gave him a nice little cushion to fall on with the stuff that happened at the end of the episode. Because at the end of the episode, we see that Sharpe saw all of his stuff. She just never responded until he texted her that last time because he was worried about a venue and everything. And Floyd hooked him up, but she never responded the entire time. In watching the episode, I figured that, okay, she's on the flight. She may not have a signal. Stuff could be going wrong. I get that. But at the end of the episode, we see that she never left London. Now, I don't want to put a lot of the pressure on her because I know a lot of women, you know, get cold feet right there at the end, you know, for the wedding and everything. So that's not a big deal. But the fact that she saw his messages and never responded or told him or anything. So Max was just looking dumbfounded right there at the end of the episode where she's not coming. I mean, I felt heartbroken for Max because he finally put his love life first, and this is what happens when he put his love life first. So it came back to bite him. So I could kind of feel if he decided to retreat within himself a little bit or retreat within work and just exclude everything else, because Sharpe kind of drove him to this. Now I'm sure she has a legitimate excuse, maybe, or something, or I don't know. But I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because I know a lot of women get cold feet. But at the same time, I can't get over the fact that she saw the other text messages. And after we learned this, she never decided to respond or semi-respond. Like, it's eating me up on the inside, man. I feel for Max. I really, really do. It just was hard. It was a lot to take in, man. And his patient ended up being fine for sure. Now, the story that I loved the most, and you know, that was one of the bad parts that I didn't enjoy, the whole Iggy situation. There were moments about him saving everybody that I loved. The whole Martin aspect, I didn't quite enjoy that as well. You know, like I said, it was good and bad at the same time. Now, the Floyd aspect, the bad part I didn't like about him was his whole dad. But in the end, he kind of redeemed himself a little bit, in my opinion. But we see that Floyd is spending time with his father because his father needed help to, you know, to kind of hurricane-proof this lady's apartment that kind of just was an extra basement. And next thing you know, a pipe in the ceiling and everything just falls on this lady, and Floyd has to help her while down there with his dad, and they just have this weird energy is flowing through the building, man, because they're not really talking to each other or having like real conversation, but it is what it is. And while Floyd is trying to help this woman and heal her, well, not heal her, you know, it's not magic, but help her and you know, help her situation, his father comes out and said, you got somebody that's real good helping you right now, somebody that's a Yale graduate, somebody that's a heart surgeon. So like, how does he know all this stuff? Because I feel like Floyd's mom and his dad, they are not on speaking terms. So maybe he decided to keep in contact and learn about Floyd nonetheless, even though he was his father. You know what I'm saying? Even though if he wasn't in his life, he knew about his life. You know what I'm saying? Because like, otherwise, how would he know all that information? Or maybe he searched it up after Floyd came there. You know what I'm saying? The very first visit. So you never really quite know, but they left everything kind of open-ended. They left Bloom and Layla's relationship open-ended. They left Floyd and his father's relationship open-ended, you know, because his father was like, well, do you know a good shoulder surgeon? You know what I'm saying? Somebody that can help me? I think I know somebody. I'll give you a call. So that was nice. Iggy and Martin whole situation is left open-ended. And we know the Max and Helen stuff is left super open-ended. This was a lot to take in, man. Like I said, it was good and bad because there was a lot of great moments. And you guys know how I feel about Dr. Wilder. I just love seeing Dr. Wilder over there. I see you, Dr. Wilder, girl. I see you. But overall, man, the episode was a nice episode to end. And like I said, it ended on a cliffhanger to get you super enticed for season 5, which is also the final season and the shortest. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button so you can smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.
All out, and I am here to stay right now, so don't call it a comeback.